With that, I want to start this session here and to congratulate everybody here. But the session is very important. The title of the session is Resiliency and Confidence. And it's an amazing session here because every speaker that is on this session has shown a superb amount of resiliency. Actually, what I call it an intergalactic amount of resiliency and effort here. And they are from all over the world. They're even resilient now. It's 1 a.m. somewhere in the world, and they are here. I'm looking at Elim, and she's saying, yes, I am resilient. I'm still awake at 1 a.m. in the morning here. Anna as well, she is resilient. She sent some really great questions that will come here, and then with Christelle and then Ines. But let me give them full credit here and read their titles as well, just to make sure that we do challenges here. And Christelle Sanon is the founder and CEO of Full Street Company, Station F. And she's part of the HEC Incubator France. I personally visit Station F. We are going to have an event there. It's incredible. I've met you there. So this is just incredible. I welcome. I'm so excited to see you here. So we're excited to come back. Please hold my coffee. I know now it's very cold, but we'll come back and we heat it up in Station F. And then we have Ines Gabaret. She's the Associate Dean of ESCA, School of Management France. They are our partners for ICSB 2021 in Paris. So this is just incredible. Ines has been putting the sessions together, and not only she's moderating, she's organizing, and now she's presenting. So we look forward to hearing Ines present. And she has done extensive research on resiliency. And Elim Chu, I met her years ago. Elim, as usual, you are leading the world here. She is the founder of I Am Holding in Singapore. So Elim, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. And then finally, last but not least, Anna Korpaz. She's the VP at Foster Care Foundation in Poland. Anna, it's nice to meet you as well. Right? And my name is Ayman Tarabishi. I'm the president, CEO of the International Council for Small Business. And I'm delighted to have you all here. So let's just start, first of all. Let's start with Christelle. Christelle, why don't we start with you? Introduce yourself to everybody. And if you have any slides you'd like to share, why don't we go ahead and put them up?
Okay, thank you very much for just a second.
Okay. Sure.
Let me see. Oh, what? Sorry. Just a second. I'm trying to. What's? Yeah. Oh, where? Okay, so maybe I don't know why it doesn't work. So anyway, I'll send you the slide later on if you don't mind. First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be at your table and to be part of this woman badge support function for many years. I was an in-house lawyer in a big media company, which is Lagardère. I worked for 12 years there, and which means that I help a lot of entrepreneurs to build their own business. And I decided when I was 40, last year, to build my first company. So I'm very, what I want to share with you today is my, I lost you, Heyman, is my vision, is my experience of resilience, thank you, of resilience and confidence. To me, entrepreneurship is about restarting your life. Restarting your life means that, okay, everybody is agree on the positive side of entrepreneurship. It's very common to say that you fix yourself new goals and you're gonna surpass yourself to reach your goals. But to me, there is one part that needs to be more detailed, is the hardest side of entrepreneurship. I think that women, we are naturally built to surpass ourselves. But when it comes to resist from some feelings, from some difficulties, we do question ourselves too much. So this is what I want to explain to you. And this is why I also think that resilience and confidence are the main asset for women who want to start business, and this is the asset we have to work on. Sorry, you don't have my slides, so I feel disappointed. Okay. First of all, when you start a business, for me, you have to free yourself from your education. You have to free yourself from what you learned in the past, what the field that you used to be seen as an expert. You have to free yourself from your degrees, because they will not define you in your professional world. You have to free yourself from your limited network, because you have to extend it, to go beyond it, and to meet new people, because everybody here knows that entrepreneurship is about meeting new people and facing new visions. And to me, as I said, entrepreneurship is about restarting your life, which mean that this path will test, will question all your foundations, all the things that you used to make you confident about, to make you stable, could change for many reasons. Let's say, okay, I feel very.
By the way, you're doing a great job. I think people are commenting here saying that forget the slides. Let's forget the slides. We'll pivot.
I work today on
No, it's okay. That's the whole point. Let me ask you some questions here, because it's about resilience and confidence.
Ask me a question.
Forget the slides. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to talk. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm fine. Thank you. Very fine.
No, let me ask you the question again. How are you really doing? How are you doing with everything that's going on in France and the world? How are you doing?
I'm testing my confidence in myself. This is a real test moment, because what I was trying to say with my slide is that when you in this position that you have to build something from scratch, and that the events, the context is not the better one. It will question your relationship with your team, your relationship with your family, your relationship with your friends, and everybody, all the people that are around you. And most of the time, we women, we put a lot of importance to not to, how to say that, to keep our relationship the better way, even if we are facing difficulties. And this is something that I have to work on for now, because my kids, some of them are not going to school, and the other one are going. So I have 3 kids. My husband is working in another area, and you know, this moment, I can feel that my priorities should be on my family, trying to get this family as connected, as strong as we used to be. But in the same time, the business part require more to me. You understand?
Yeah, I know. I understand. What I heard you say, and maybe I'll ask the people that are listening in here. This is just me talking to you. I feel that you put too much responsibility on yourself. That's what I heard you say, because, you know, my colleague Kathy Corman Fry mentioned earlier saying, you know, you have to have all these systems functioning properly and doing extremely well. Your family, your work, your kids, your significant other. It seems that you have so many things happening. Your team, your work, and not only that, you also fail to talk about yourself. Yourself, you know, how you're feeling about yourself, and are you feeling healthy? Are you feeling good about yourself? All of this is happening in a moment of crisis, and not only that, all happening in this. Do you think? And this is my question to you: do you think you're judging yourself too hard?
I'm always judging myself hard because I think it's necessary. I think it's something that it's not a problem for me because when you ambitious, and this is entrepreneurship is about ambition. Uh, you have to be you have to take those responsibilities and try to how I saw comments here. We have to dance with it, to handle it. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, but okay, again, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here because I am the moderator and I have the right to be a devil's advocate here a little bit. But maybe the question is, why are you judging yourself too hard? Because compared to what are you comparing yourself to if you don't know what other people are struggling with? You know, we take Shoru, we take Maria Fernanda, we take other people here. You don't know the criteria. It's just
Okay.
maybe the judging is a little bit, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just pushing the envelope.
Yeah, I know, but someone just wrote a word that is, this is a balance that we have to find. And my for my responsibilities as a mother will not change because there is a pandemic. My responsibilities as a CEO will not change because there is a crisis. We just have to. I think to me, it's I'm taking this as an opportunity to see how strong what I'm building is. You see, so it doesn't make me. It's not too heavy. It doesn't make me sad. It doesn't make me more stressed. Okay, it's just a real test for me, and I'm very happy to see. While we're getting through this crisis, I'm very happy to see that I've been building is resisting.
Yes. So you raise the point of resiliency now. You talk about, yes, this is all happening, but the more every day that passes by, the more every day the small successes creates me more resilient. That's
Yeah,
what I heard you say. So
exactly.
let me ask you this question, and then we'll move to the next speaker here. Knowing this, are you not excited about the future? You have the worst case scenario of the pandemic, the crisis, and all that stuff, and every day you're standing on both feet, you're balancing on both feet, and you're
It,
building confidence. Sometimes it's bad days, sometimes it's good days. Some days the PowerPoint doesn't work, but I'm asking you difficult questions, and you're like, you know what? Next time I'm not going to do a PowerPoint. I'm just going to come and talk. You know, that's
I'm
part one.
definitely.
That's part one of the question. But part two is you have a responsibility now. You have a responsibility to other women leaders, to other men leaders, and to young women and men. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Okay. To answer the first part of the question, I'll say that I'm definitely positive. And just because of the reason that you just said, I know that I'm in the right place. Because even if some things are falling around me, I'm still standing, and it increased my conviction that what I was doing is what I needed to do and what was the best experience for me. So I'm definitely positive. And if I had an advice to give to women entrepreneurs, is I can feel that most of the time, I experience that most of the time, women disqualify themselves because of many reasons. And I heard some former speakers today, and they were talking about this point. I think that women entrepreneur, yeah, they will they, they have to listen to themselves. They have to believe in their ability, and to do things, even if your family, your friends, your former network doesn't see the result. Because starting a business or having a business that works gives you can how to say that, can validate you. in a global way in front of your family or your friends, because your first clients, your community will be, at the end of the day, will validate your choice and the risks you took.
Yeah, one last question here, and I'll end it here because we go to the next one here. Research has shown, especially with young women and young women entrepreneurs, that the way they receive feedback versus men is different on their company or on their idea.
Yeah.
So when women receive feedback on their company or their startup, they personalize it too much. They think the feedback that is coming towards their company or their business idea, it's a reflection on who they are, right?
Yeah.
Versus men, when you give them feedback about their company or their business, it says, okay, well, it's about my business, but it's not about me. Okay? Do you agree with this, this research, that one of the issues that we're dealing with here is the separation of the idea of the business and the person, which at that point is a woman, right? Is that something that you see looking back at starting your business? Is sometimes you have to separate between a bad day at work versus a bad day you personally, as a person, as a human being, as a woman. What do you think about that?
I think I hope I won't have enemies with my answer, but I think sometimes it's an ego issue, because I think that when you start building a business, you have to resist to your ego reflexes, which mean sometimes we are afraid. We are trying to hide when we don't know. We are trying to hide when we made a mistake, and we are trying to we are shy when we change our mind, and because we put too much weight in people's critics. You understand? Critics.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you're more outside of you than inside of you, and this is something that maybe can explain what you just said.
Great. This has been amazing. I'm not sure why the technology didn't work, but I think we got an exceptional insights on your take here. I think this is just fantastic. And stay put, because we're going to have more questions coming up. I see questions coming up here. But what I'd like to do is I want to switch to our next speaker on the list is Ines Gavarre. Ines, welcome back. I know you did a session with us with ICSB on resiliency. So welcome, and please tell us what you think.
Thank you very much. It is, okay, now I'm here again, and I am on the other side of the table, which is a very difficult exercise for me, because as a professor and a researcher, I am used to listen to people and develop theoretical concepts and try to understand the life of people. And in that case, ICSB asked me to be a panelist, so to talk about this concept of resilience, that a concept that I studied since a long time, but to apply at my own experience. So this is quite a moving exercise, and I prepare, and I hope it will work. I prepare this PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yes, we do. It looks really good. We see it.
Very, very well. So I'm going to use this PowerPoint just to explain a little what I understood looking backward to my own career, and what I can see my own path as women in business, as a follow of resilience and change. So in this presentation, I always like to look at the origins. I always like to look back and where we came from and what happened, because I believe that there is an interconnection between the life of people and the environment, and changes on society and on the environment affect directly the choices that we can make. So I'm going to start just giving a brief show briefly where we come from as women, where we are now, and how resilience for me, it becomes a tool for success in my career. Okay, so just let me start showing, and this is the hard part because I'm going to open my life to you. And as all of we today, we have different jobs in our life as women. And I put here forward just the two principal jobs. One is my personal life and the other is my professional life. So I am an Argentinian woman that was living a lot of years in Argentina, and then I was living, working, and studying 5 years in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and then there is 16 years that I am living in France, where I did my superior studies, and I was always working. And I am mother of 3 grown-up children, as you can see in the picture. Both of them are already married, so I am also a grandmother. So a very intensive personal life, because to raise 3 children and working at the same time is quite an organizational task. And in the other side, in the professional life, I spent a lot of years at university, as you can see with this follow-up. I also work in different careers. So when you put like that in one slide, it feels simple, a linear path, but it is not at all a linear path. It is kind of cycles of a lot of work, and then things that are not going wrong, and you need to change and reimagine and use resilience to reinvent your next path. And my next path was like that. I started studying my BA at the same time that I was raising my 2 first children, because I married very young. I was a student and a mother at the same time. And then I started working for multinational corporations in Argentina and then Brazil. And at that moment, I needed to change. So every time I decide to change, I come back to the university. So at that time, I did my MBA, specialized in entrepreneurship, and then I created a company in Argentina and another one later on in France. And then I want to come back to the university because I wanted to change again. And I did a PhD in the south of France, and I started working as a professor, another change. And then I moved to Paris, and I decided to come back to the university again to do an HDR, which is the highest diploma in France. And after that, I was proposed a job as associate dean of faculty and research in one of the most important business schools, or one of the 15 most important business schools in France. So it is not linear, and it was at every time accepting the loss, embracing the change, and reconversion, and start studying and earning competencies and skills again. So what I want to look back to where we come from is because for me it was very important in defining the career I was trying to do. And this is because if you look at this, I am from Argentina. My mother I was born in the 60s, and the idea of a woman in the 60s, you can see in this film of Frank Sinatra, a very popular film, decide in this discussion, a woman isn't really a woman at all until she has been married and have children. And this was the principal idea at that time in the 60s. Even if there is some women who were working, in general, I saw in my family, they were working few years, And the day they married, they stopped working to embrace this career as wife and mother. Okay, so this is something that was expected by society when I was born. And then things start changing, and we can see when we arrive to the 80s, a lot of women thinking about going to the university, women trying to apply to leadership roles, and we start seeing women entrepreneurs. In fact, the theory on entrepreneurship start talking about women entrepreneurs just 30 years ago. So we see this change, and we are in this environment. So this proposed a new definition of success, as we can see today when we talk about success with the other participants. In fact, success is not more defined by society. Success is a known construction. Each woman will decide what she thinks the successful life is. So, and this is marked also by the idea that the world has no limits, so women can go and embrace different things in the world. And also that the most important is to search for happiness, not to search for duty. It is not that you're going to do this because you must do it, it's because you want to do it, for change. So what happened is that we cannot cut our lives from the environment of the cultural background that we are living in. So I did both. So I married very young and I had my children. So at the same time, I did my studies and then I started working. And when you see this change, okay, from the 60s to the 80s, you can believe that everything is easy now because women have access to markets, to jobs, and to university. But it is not. It is not, because when you start doing that, you find that the career part of a woman is not simple. We are very far from a equality world, and we need to overcome barriers all the time. And barriers is not the problem to conciliation. Barriers are how other people looks at you at the job environment, how other people consider your ideas. That's because you are a woman, not because your ideas are good or bad, but this kind of layer on it is come from a woman. It is, we have to check twice. And this was my feeling. And I want to explain a little what is resilience and how I overcame all these barriers. And I found myself as a dean in France, coming from Argentina, which is a long way to do. So resilience is a theoretical concept. And it is defined as an ability to respond, to adapt, and to start again after adversity. It's a big concept that was developed in a lot of different science, and we use this definition for management. Okay, but at the same time, so resilience is a cognitive process. Okay, it's something that you're going to choose from a rational aspect. But this cognitive process only can take place if you are in a positive emotional environment. Because if you are filled up with negative emotions like anger, fear, guilt, or regrets, you are not going to be able to overcome the problem and to go into this cognitive process that will allow you to go further and to change and to learn from the problem. So when I understood that, I just changed a little the way I was behaving, okay, from resistance to resilience, from trying to make the world change at changing myself or changing the place. And this is very important because it is based on how to control the emotional aspect of we as women has. It was the question of Ayman 2 minutes ago. Okay, we are more sensitive and more emotional than men. This is like this, but we learn how to equilibrate this. So what resilience can teach us is just eliminate negative emotions and transform it in positive ones. Generate positive emotion is to look at the other side of the problem. If there is a problem that provokes you anger or fear, just look at the problem as an opportunity and change the approach to the problem. But you cannot do this alone. And this is other thing that happens today. Someone said it. You cannot do everything by yourself alone. You need to surround yourself with helpful people, with a supportive environment. You need to manage stress. You need to be among people that believe in you, that help you to go there. Because to do the things alone, it is very, very hard and it is not fruitful. So another thing that it was very important when you are in this path of resilience is ask yourself the good questions, okay? Because maybe you are looking at this problem and you forget that this is just a little part of another way, very much more important. So what do you really want? Where are you going? And look at the big picture. Do not stay just looking at this problem of today. See the big picture allows you to move forward and to accept change. And in that case, you need to accept, agree to lose a battle, to win a war. And this is not easy, and this can hurt your feelings, but you need to be clear that in this process, you are wanted to go further, you are wanted to move forward. So it is the way to do. And this is because, as I say, when you as a woman start believing in yourself and believing that what you want to do is worth it, okay, everything is possible. And I will finish with these wonderful pictures of our first Vice President woman of the United States, which is very impressive. So I hope I'm not so long in my 10 minutes. You're going to tell me.
No, Ines, fantastic presentations, fantastic story to tell here. You raise a lot of good issues, and with the time has changed. Also, the way you look at yourself has to change. You know, it's not the same as anymore here. And I'm curious to see with a lot of women, young women, or women in general, or women now and currently that are at home. What's the future like? And that's something that we all need to reflect together. We need to make a different type of future here. We'll never go back. We'll only move forward. With that, I want to introduce my dear friend Elim. I met her in Singapore before. Elim, do you want me to share your slides? I have them. Would you like me to do that? Okay. So let me quickly share the slides of Elim. And they are amazing. Elim, do you see my slide? Do you see the slides now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. And then let me make this into a full screen.
Okay. Sorry if I make you hungry. I'm going to make you a bit hungry.
It's okay. Just tell me when to move the slides.
Okay. Yeah. So I was, listening to everyone, and I think the points of, change. I think we have to accept the change that is happening in our life, and even more so today, with COVID, it really changed the world, not even, just our life, right? So I was in the fashion business for 30 years. I brought the streetwear, fashion, and accessories to
I think we lost Elim, and let's just give her a minute. Or unless Elim, are you on mute for some reason? Let me just make sure. Oh, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Great, fantastic.
Okay.
Please continue. You were in the
Okay.
fashion business for 30 years, and you stopped. So.
Okay, yeah. So we're in the fashion business for 30 years, and so we saw the changes in the world with e-commerce, and so we know that we need to change, what we're doing in the fashion business. So we decided to retire from fashion and move into food. Can I have the next slide? Can you hear me? Or am I losing you?
There's a little delay, but here's a slide. You can see it?
Okay, the next slide.
Oh, one more. Okay.
The next slide.
Yeah, 1 second. So we skipped the food. Okay.
So we move into food. If you can hear me, I just keep speaking while you change, but I can't see the change in the slide. Yeah.
Next slide.
So,
okay.
Okay, so we move into food. The next slide, where we invested into a Korean food. I'm Kim Korean Barbecue. My whole entire team, from the fashion buyers, from the managers, from the warehouse, from our general managers, they're all with us. So I call them the super team. So for us as women, when we're in business, we need a very super team. So the whole team joined us into the food business, and we move into the food business. We opened the first I'm Kim Korean Barbecue. Subsequently, today we have 5 outlets. We add, different varieties of food as well. If you are doing the next slide, we even take it to one more version where customers are asking us if we can do it in halal version. So we have I'm Kim Korean Barbecue in halal version. And then we have a steamboat. Are you moving the slides or?
Yeah, yes, I'm moving. We're in. I don't think you see them, but we're in Food Panda right now. So
Okay,
I'm officially hungry. I ordered food, but I'm gonna order some more of this now.
Okay, so you order food. So we are in Food Panda, where during the COVID, when everything shuts down, we had to, we were worried for what we have, we can't serve, buffet, because we're doing buffet in our restaurant. We can't serve buffet, and there's no takeaway. Everything was stay home. So what we did was to, quickly innovate and recreate some of our food dishes, especially our favorite chicken wings in our store, to become delivery for food. So we do delivery to household. And so, I kept myself busy and, making sure that our team continues to do, what we can do and innovate as quickly as we can. Not only that, I have a Ilim Chu TV on YouTube, where I interview social entrepreneurs and people who are creating change. I put them onto YouTube, where people can see, learn, and implement it in their own countries, because a lot of young people now they can see and they can learn, and they then implement it in their own country. So the next slide, we have what we call fast delivery. So as we were retiring from fashion as well, I saw there was a need in the market for delivery. So we started a delivery app called Fast Delivery. Fast is just as fast as you can get within Singapore to deliver anything around Singapore in 90 minutes. And we created an app. And this time around, instead of me mentoring a lot of young people, when I speak to young people, they turn around and mentor me in a way where, it's called the reverse mentoring. The young people tell me that creating the app was really easy. So they started the app for us to be able to match the job to the driver. And with this, we are able to provide 90% of the cash that is collected for the driver, and we kept 10% to keep the company sustainable. And so what we do is to create this as a social impact businesses, where we can impact, single mom, single dad, or caregivers, where, they take care of their elderly parents, or, dementia mom and dad, and they need part-time job. They can run errands and then, have income. So fast delivery. So when the COVID happened as well, so next slide, right? I went into logistic business where we were, like now, anyone in the world who wants to, have e-commerce business, what is your biggest headache? Your biggest headache is actually the back end logistic. So we went into the 360 logistic business where we can support your e-commerce business. So if any of you want to come to the Asia market, starting from Singapore, you have your product. We can actually list your products on all the marketplace platform in Singapore. We help you to list, we help you to pack, we help you to deliver. And all you do is you send your products to us on consignment, and we work out a percentage with you. So you have no headaches. So, everyone is calling us as we are speaking. We have different countries, the Ministry of Trade in different countries, like in Australia, in Poland, they are sending us their products. So for example, Australia, they send us their wine, they send us their craft beer, they send us their cheese. And, so we get all these snacks coming from Australia, and we help them to pack and list on all the marketplaces. So we have, even from Poland, we have different places from Malaysia as well. And so we are now acting as a 360 fulfillment market for any of the e-commerce business. So we got ourselves busy as well. And because of that, the next slide, as you can see, during this became very handy for us, because when the COVID struck, everybody was looking for masks, protection gears, test kits. They're looking for ventilators. We have all the network, and we are able to do all the deliveries for everyone as well. So, everything comes in, gelling in place, all together. So the next slide is actually the warehouse, where you can see how we do all the packing for everyone, and the system for packing. So we have from just warehousing to chiller, as well as to freezer as well for your frozen products. So the next slide, you can see Seed Ventures. So again, there was a lot of time where we were all staying at home, where, we can't go to work. I was trying something to do. So a friend have started something like a Shark Tank, where, we advise startups, and, we are able to talk to them and even invest in them. So in the end, I, became a venture partner with Seed Ventures. And what we do is we loan $20,000 on a debt venture fund for any startup, so that they can start their business going. And then what they do is when they have traction, and then we help them to raise more funds from different investors. So it became something exciting. And so we are seeing more and more startups coming up in this part of Singapore as well. So the next slide. So, well, I have my book called The Elim Chew Story. The next slide. So let's take small steps together. And with ICSB, we hope that together we can all make the difference. So there are many things that I'm doing. I'm contactable at the email address or Instagram at Elim Chew 77th Street, or Elim Chew New on Facebook. Yep, that's it.
And thank you very much, Elim. This is fantastic. What it seems that the message here is very clear. In the midst of crisis, we can pause a little bit, but it's time to innovate and be creative. And you moving everybody from the fashion industry to the food business to the transportation, now to building a show, which is communication, and now even a venture fund here. You're all one step ahead, always one step ahead is maybe the name of the game with you. And it's also a good answer to saying, how do we become more resilient? How do we become more confident? Is innovate, continue to innovate. So your story is well received and well positioned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We have one more speaker, Anna, Vice President at Foster Care Foundation in Poland. Anna, you've been waiting patiently here, and we have been waiting patiently to hear you as well. So, so we're ready to go. If you want to share your slides, or if you want to talk, perfect. So this is fantastic. We can hear you, and the floor is yours, Anna.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me in this space with these incredible women. It's been a pleasure actually hearing all of you. Before I get started, a little disclaimer. None of what I'm going to tell you I came up with on my own. The ideas that I share here have been shared, research, experienced by incredible women that I've been fortunate enough to hear, read, listen, meet, make memories with throughout recent years. And it is of absolute service that I am able to share these insights with you today through my eyes, through my experiences, reflections, and feelings. So I'm going to start off with a short story. It was 2018. It was January of 2018. It was a Thursday, to be precise, at about 10:24. And my work computer went blank. It didn't quite go blank. It went dark, but it continued to run. I could hear it doing something in the background. I could feel the keyboard getting warmer. I was in a coffee shop working while my team was across Switzerland and supporting them on a very big international conference. That state of my computer continued. I did not know what to do. Anything that I tried, restarted, plug it into the outlet, did not help. Everything that I could have done, I tried before I needed to go back into the office and face the IT department to ask for help. It wasn't until 2 hours into that experience that I finally made my way there. Over those 2 hours, however, I realized that I was feeling like my computer. I was shutting down, yet everything inside of me was boiling. And hence why this picture here of this wave of water just coming over. It felt like I've been sitting there piling things into a soup, and it came to a point of boiling. By that time, by 2018, I had a number of years of a career in the social innovation, sustainable development goals. I've had the possibility of working on the Paris Agreement. I've been fortunate enough to be part of the Conference of the Parties since COP21, had been part of the World Economic Forum, working on the forest and land agenda for a number of years. And it was 2018, it was the beginning of 2018. I had just started with my intentions with applying for Oxford. I was planning to move to Brazil to join my colleagues there to work on the forest agenda for a few months. But it wasn't happening. What came to my realization was my realization, actually was the support network around me, was that I had hit burnout. And I refer to it that it's actually burnout happens when you avoid being human for too long. And this I share with you as we talk about resilience, because this is a continuum that we see, and studies have shown and continue to show that more and more individuals either experience burnout or some degree of it. And this study that I reference here is a Gallup study from 2018, where they looked at the experience of 7,500 employees in the US, and 2 out of 3 of them had experienced burnout. So that was 2018. And there was the beginning of a path towards rebuilding my resilience, my body, my mind, my physique overall, my relationships had boiled, and most and foremost, my relationship with myself. So we talk about, and I will not go into too much detail here because Ness had done an incredible job talking about what resilience is, but we tend to define it, and this is the standard dictionary, that it is the ability to become strong, healthy, or successful again after something bad happens. The ability of something to return to its original shape after it has been pulled, stretched, bent, etc. An ability to recover from or adjust daily to misfortunes of change. But I had fallen off the horse, one can say. I had fallen off the horse while I was going at a very high speed. And normally resilience can be looked at as a way of getting back on that horse as quickly as possible. But what if we looked at resilience as a way of not getting up on that horse, but actually understanding what that horse is made out of and what its rider, myself, is made out of. What are the molecules, the ligaments that form me as an individual, as a woman who, yes, in many ways, am working and finding myself in a predominantly male world. So as we look at there is a danger when we look at resilience that we portray continuously a standard of the patriarchal system of getting up back on that horse as fast as possible. What if I suggested to you that we looked at resilience more the way that Karina Faddle does? She's the therapist that looks into how trauma influences the memory of our bodies. She says, what if we looked at it the way the water knows just how to flow, not force itself around the river rock? Maybe then, surely I could stretch myself into the shape of my own path, that which is actually being asked of me. And so as I began my journey of learning about myself and building out my resilience, it was obviously and continues to be a journey. There are two mechanism mindsets that I want to share with you today. One of them was just, I would say probably very, very core of it all, which is stepping back and looking at my values. And values being what matters the most to me in my life. Values being the chosen direction for the lives that we decide to lead, what is truly most important to us and what helps us construct our goals and therefore promote the behavior that we actually step into. And taking that even further, what I had learned over this process of rebuilding my resilience was, well, values are extremely important. What if we put them in a lantern? And this lantern held the fire, which is our values. And around the fire, we see the glass. That's the protection of that flame, the protection of those values. And knowing what are the specific behaviors that support and protect our values, actually getting to really know that. And who are the people in your life that also you need around you to support that. And I know this has been mentioned by a number of the speakers already about how important our support systems are in this case. And then the handle of this lantern, reminding us that there are certain red flags we should be thinking of. Red flags being when you walk away from your light, when you walk away from your values, and being knowledgeable of what they are. For me, for example, it's when I realized that that I'm saying too many yeses on the outside and saying too many no's to myself. The second mindset or mechanism, which I refer to, is hard back and soft front. Again, I don't take credit for these words. This is an absolutely beautiful phrase that I've learned from Joanne Halifax. Dr. Halifax is a Buddhist teacher. She's a Zen priest. She's also an anthropologist and activist. And I put the picture here of trees because I do think of it as somewhat as trees as well rooted into the ground, but also soft on the branches for whatever changes of the weather can come. And what it means by having a strong back, or what she means in this case, is that many of us tend to come in with a defended front, shielding actually a weak spine. In other words, we walk around brittle and defensive, trying to conceal our lack of confidence. If we strengthen our backs, metaphorically speaking, and develop a spine that's flexible and sturdy, then there's actually the potential of having a front that is soft and open to the wider world, and leaning in actually with our hearts. And I believe that it comes when we can be truly transparent, seeing the world clearly and letting the world see into us. And so these two mechanisms and so many more over the years, as you can imagine, now having revisited my values, revisited my lantern, I do my best to step in with a hard back and a soft front, which has led me to the things that I do now in the foster care and many other areas I'm not going to go into. But what I do want to leave you with, because we did say the session was about resilience and about confidence, is that confidence is not does not come from external justifications that we have success. It comes from internally stopping the battles with ourselves, measuring ourselves to others, living other people's dreams and expectations. To me, confidence comes through that resilience. And through that resilience, when we deeper have a knowledge of ourselves and becoming like the waves of the water that I mentioned at the beginning, by knowing how to flow and not force ourselves through the river rock, not forcing ourselves to get back up on the horse, but actually learning what it is that drives me to get on that horse, what is part of that horse and myself as a rider. And only then do I think, and here in this incredible conference for the first time with all these women, I think these mechanisms, along with many that have been mentioned together, we can really build out our confidence and create the shift that we're hoping through global impact. So thank you.
And thank you very much. This is Anna, this is really well said and very eloquent and poetic as well. And we have about 5 minutes left. And we don't have a lot of time for questions here. So if you allow me, I'm gonna play a small little game just to get everybody awake and to get everybody all excited here. So Christelle, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna play a game. Are you ready? Okay, I'm putting you on the spot here. I think this is like, why do I have to start first? But why not? Okay, so I'm gonna mention a word to you, and the first thing that comes to your mind, you tell me, okay? So when I mention to you, when I tell you, okay, Christelle, when I mention to you word resilience, what comes to your mind?
Resisting.
Resisting, okay. And Ines, resilience?
Change.
Change.
Learning.
Okay, all right, Elim? Resilience, what comes to your mind?
Never give up.
Never give up. Okay, Anna, resilience, what comes to your mind?
Transformation.
Transformation. Okay, so good, you all pass. You get free lunch at Elim's when we all meet in Singapore.
Yes, please come. Emma, can I share one thing which I thought is very interesting? In Singapore, I mentor a group of women who they were mothers, and they gave up their professional jobs, becoming mothers for many years, and then eventually they wanted to go back to the workforce, but they lacked confidence and they were very worried. And by then they were probably, in Singapore, because they look after their kids for 7 years, being a stay-at-home mom, so they have lost touch with the market for 7 years. So they decided to start something called CRIB, C-R-I-B, where they want to help other women and mothers to enter back into workforce. And so they started a platform to support women, mothers for mothers. And then they started something very interesting as well. They have something called A, B, and C. A is for mothers with A for angels, mothers with money, a lot of money, but they don't know what to do with their money. So B is for people with business. So they used to be mothers or they are mothers, but they are professionals. So they are lawyers, they are managers, they are general managers, CEOs, but they became mom, right? But so they are B, so they're business oriented. C is for the creative people, and they are very creative. They come up with all kinds of ideas that they want to do things, right? But they have no money and they cannot manage. So they did a small profiling for many of them. So some are A, some are B, and some are C. And so every month they have this thing where the C will pitch for their ideas. The A will say, I have money, I'll fund it. And the B will say, I run it.
Oh,
and so they have a few very successful business coming out from the startups.
I love this. Yeah. I love
so
this.
One of them, for example, the earlier panel said about mothers with their kids, right? What to do. So one of the mothers said, why don't I start a co-working space where we have childcare in a co-working space? So at the same time we have meetings, I can overlook my child because there's a childcare services in a co-working space. So A, fund it, B, manage it, C, came out with ideas. So it's always a joint venture. And so all these women started to have confidence in going back into the workforce.
We need more
And
ABCs.
startups. Yeah,
Wonderful.
ABC.
Thank you, Elim. I
Okay.
have two more questions for the last quiz here. So we're going to start with Anna. Anna, the question for you: if I mention the word, you tell me what quickly comes to your mind. All right? Confidence.
Strength.
Strength. Okay, Elim, confidence.
Confidence comes from helping others, mentoring others, and then that comes with the confidence, and also it opens up a lot of opportunities.
Okay, and Ines, confidence.
Confidence is trusting in myself and my capabilities.
Thank you very much. And Christelle, confidence.
I would say instinct.
Instant. This has been an amazing session. I want to thank you all. I have one more question to ask you here, but I'm not going to ask it. I'm going to only ask it when I see you all in Paris next year. So be ready for my question in Paris. And the question will be very simple. Where have you been the last year? so with that, I want to